PMI CAPM exam practice questions with explanations are available in the video for you to study. Which primary document serves as the formal authorization for a project's existence and provides the project manager with the authority to utilize organizational resources for project tasks? A. Project scope statement. B. Business case. C. Project charter. D. Project management plan. The answer is C. The project charter is the foundational document that formally recognizes the start of a project and links it to the organization's strategic objectives. It identifies the project manager and explicitly defines their level of authority to apply human and financial resources to project activities. While a business case justifies the investment, it does not provide the legal mandate to start the work. The project management plan, on the other hand, is a collection of subsidiary plans developed after the charter is signed. Therefore, the charter is essential for establishing the project manager's leadership role within the performing organization. In a standard project lifecycle, how do stakeholder influence and the cost of implementing changes typically evolve as the project progresses toward completion? A. Both stakeholder influence and change costs increase. B. Stakeholder influence increases, while change costs decrease. C. Stakeholder influence decreases, while change costs increase. D. Both stakeholder influence and change costs decrease. The answer is C. At the beginning of a project, stakeholders have the highest influence because requirements are still being defined and the project's direction is flexible. As work progresses and more resources are committed, the ability to influence the final product without significant disruption diminishes. Conversely, the cost of making changes is relatively low at the start but rises exponentially as the project nears completion due to rework and the need to discard completed work. This inverse relationship highlights the importance of early stakeholder engagement to minimize expensive alterations in later phases. Understanding this dynamic helps project managers balance stakeholder needs against budget constraints. A project team is using a hierarchical technique to divide the overall project scope and major deliverables into smaller, more manageable components. What is this technique called? A. Product analysis. B. Decomposition. C. Variance analysis. D. Inspection. The answer is B. Decomposition is the process used to break down the project scope and deliverables into smaller, more granular parts until they are defined at the work package level. This technique is essential for creating the work breakdown structure, WBS, which provides a structured framework for managing the project work. By subdividing tasks, project managers can more accurately estimate costs, durations, and resource requirements for each component. It also facilitates better tracking of progress and ensures that no critical work is omitted during planning. Effective decomposition leads to improved control and clarity throughout the project lifecycle. Which project management document contains the approved version of the time-phased budget, excluding management reserves, and is used as a basis for comparing actual results to planned performance? A. Cost management plan. B. Cost forecast. C. Performance measurement baseline. D. Cost baseline. The answer is D. The cost baseline is the authorized, time-phased budget that includes all project expenditures and contingency reserves but excludes management reserves. It serves as a vital component of the project management plan against which actual spending is measured and monitored. During the project manager uses this baseline to detect variances and evaluate whether the project is staying within its financial constraints. Management reserves are held for unforeseen risks and are not part of the performance measurement until they are officially integrated into the baseline via a change request. Thus, the cost baseline is the primary tool for financial control in predictive project environments. A project manager is facilitating a session to prioritize identified risks by evaluating their individual probability of occurrence and their potential impact on project objectives. This process is known as A. Plan risk management. B. Perform qualitative risk analysis. C. Perform quantitative risk analysis. D. Identify risks. The answer is B. Perform qualitative risk analysis is the process of prioritizing individual project risks for further analysis or action by assessing their probability and impact. This process allows the team to focus on high-priority risks that could significantly affect project outcomes without requiring the complex modeling used in quantitative analysis. It often involves using a probability and impact matrix to categorize risks as high, medium, or low. By ranking risks early, project managers can allocate resources more effectively to develop appropriate response strategies. This qualitative assessment is typically faster and more cost-effective than numerical methods, making it a standard practice in most projects. Which document outlines the ground rules for the team, including communication guidelines, conflict resolution processes, and shared values to promote a collaborative work environment? A. Resource Management Plan. B. Team Charter. C. Staffing Management Plan. D. Responsibility Assignment Matrix, RAM. The answer is B. The team charter is a document developed by the project team to establish clear expectations regarding behavior and professional conduct. It includes essential elements such as decision-making criteria, conflict resolution protocols, and meeting guidelines to ensure team cohesiveness. By defining these norms collectively, the team reduces misunderstandings and fosters a sense of shared responsibility for the project's success. Unlike the resource management plan, which focuses on identifying and acquiring resources, the team charter focuses on interpersonal dynamics and team culture. It is a critical tool for building trust and improving performance, especially in diverse or virtual team settings. When a project manager provides a web-based repository where stakeholders can access project status reports and documents at their own discretion, what type of communication is being utilized? A. Push communication. B. Pull communication. C. Interactive communication. D. Informal communication. The answer is B. Pull communication is a method where information is made available in a central location, such as a website or intranet, and the recipient is responsible for accessing it. This technique is highly effective for large audiences or when substantial amounts of information need to be distributed without overwhelming individual stakeholders. It allows users to retrieve the specific data they need at a time that is convenient for them. In contrast, push communication sends information directly to recipients through emails or memos, regardless of whether they requested it. Pull communication is a key component of modern information management systems and helps maintain transparency in complex projects. Which type of contract is most appropriate when the scope of work is not yet precisely defined and the project requires external specialized support where the buyer pays per hour of service plus material costs? A. Firm fixed price, FFP. B. Cost plus fixed fee, CPFF. C. Time and material, T&M. D. Fixed price incentive fee, FPIF. The answer is C. Time and material, T&M, contracts are hybrid arrangements that contain elements of both fixed price and cost reimbursable contracts. They are often used for small-scale projects or when the buyer cannot quickly define a detailed statement of work. Under this model, the seller is paid for the actual time spent on the project at a predefined rate and reimbursed for materials used. To prevent costs from spiraling, buyers often include a "not to exceed" clause in the agreement. While this provides flexibility, it places more risk on the buyer compared to a firm fixed price contract. A project manager is conducting an audit to determine whether the project's activities comply with organizational policies, standards, and procedures. Which process is being performed? A. Control quality. B. Plan quality management. C. Manage quality. D. Validate scope. The answer is C. Manage quality, often associated with quality assurance, is the process of translating the quality management plan into executable activities that incorporate the organization's quality policies. A primary tool used in this process is the quality audit, which is an independent, structured review to identify ineffective or inefficient practices. The goal is to ensure that the project is using the correct processes to meet its quality requirements and to facilitate continuous improvement. While control quality focuses on the specific outputs and deliverables to ensure they are correct, manage quality focuses on the processes used to create them. Therefore, auditing is a proactive approach to preventing defects and ensuring organizational compliance. In an adaptive project environment, what document is used to prioritize and manage requirements, allowing the team to pull work as capacity becomes available? A. Work breakdown structure, WBS. B. Sprint backlog. C. Product backlog. D. Schedule baseline. The answer is C. The product backlog is an evolving, prioritized list of all the features, functions, and requirements needed for a product in an agile or adaptive environment. It serves as the single source of work for the project team, with items at the top representing the highest value for the customer. The product owner is responsible for grooming and reprioritizing this list as new information and feedback emerge from each iteration. During sprint planning, the team selects a subset of items from the product backlog to move into the sprint backlog for immediate completion. This dynamic approach allows for high flexibility and ensures that the team always works on the most critical tasks first.